Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground.
After I got off the phone with my assistant, I sat in the chair across from the bed staring at Stormy. Logically, I know that she cannot be the most beautiful girl in the whole world. But for the life of me, I can remember ever seeing one more beautiful with my own eyes. I think I have it figured out. There was no one else on the planet as pure and loving as she. I do feel like Yah has smiled on me. And not because of some superpower or something like that. It's because he blessed me with a woman that was worth more than all the gold in the world. I can't imagine not coming home and seeing her smile at me because she's glad I made it home safely. Or to open the fridge, skip past the filet mignon to grab a smoked turkey wing that she called a turkey part, to throw it in a pot of potatoes and greens that she claimed was love in a pot. My gaze went to her plush lips that I had feasted on just a little while ago. I had not lied to her when I told her that her body had become an addiction to me. When I wasn't tasting her, I craved her. If I didn't feel her warm, soft skin next to mine, I felt cold. Her small fingers rubbing through my locks and my beard has become a necessity to me. No masseuse in the world could offer such comfort. I drew on her comfort and gently kissed those soft lips again, careful not to wake her. I needed this because it was time for me to get some real answers from the bastard that was my father. I quietly shut the bedroom door behind me and made my way to his study. "Trouble sleeping?" he asked from where he sat in the chair facing the fire. He didn't even look up as I entered. "No, I don't have a problem sleeping. I was just wondering why you are such a liar, and why you felt the need to manipulate my bank accounts to get us here tonight." I took a seat in the chair across from him. Both chairs were on an angle, so that although they faced each other, they slightly faced the fireplace. He still hadn't looked up. "I didn't touch your bank accounts, just the hotel computers. And I'm sorry for that, but I had to speed things up." "Why?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. He just looked into the fire. Suddenly, he looked tired, worn out even. "Did you know that I used to have your gift?" He looked up at me then. I shook my head. "Yeah," he exhaled. "But I blew it. I took advantage. Growing up, I guess I always knew that certain people seemed to fear me. Rich people, people with power. I was so greedy then. I used it to my full advantage. But Yah is merciful." "So what happened?" I asked. "How did you lose your gift?" When I first came into this truth, I had one foot in and one foot still solidly in the world. I had convinced myself that Yah didn't want me to give up everything. So now that I knew why powerful people feared me, I knew and I understood that it was a gift from Yah. But I guess I took for granted how much time I would have to straighten up. I used the gift that Yah blessed me with to increase my own power. And then, one morning I woke up and it was gone. I knew instantly. Something that I had lived with forever was gone. At first I was angry, and then I grieved. I shut myself out from everything, from everybody, including my kids. He picked up his snifter and took a sip of its burgundy content. The whole time, I thought I grieved because I had lost my power. But it wasn't until I realized that I had lost my power that I really hurt. I don't understand, I told him. Having powerful people do my bidding is one thing. Living without Yah's Ruach is a whole nother thing. I laminated for years because I had been cut off from Yah. And then I picked up that Bible and I started studying again, praying again, fasting again. You see, son, my goal had been wrong the whole time. I had been striving for fortune and power, but I had been striving for the wrong thing. What should you have been striving for? The kingdom, Solomon. The kingdom, son. I had it all wrong. I taught you and your sister the wrong things to strive for. And for that, I must pay. What do you mean? He took another sip of his drink, his gaze going back to the fire. I don't know, just a feeling, really. It's why I had to do things that I did to get you here. I have to try to right some of my wrongs. You don't have to forgive me, son. That is not what I'm asking for. But please, let me help you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made. So that in the future, you don't find yourself having this conversation with your son. Let me show you how to teach him. He looked back up at me, his eyes pleading with mine. Pop, I can't just walk away from everything I worked so hard to accomplish. He chuckled. Doggone it. Those are the exact words I said 20 years ago. At last, I fear history is doomed to repeat itself. Something about his words disturbed me heavily. I mean, they really caused my insides to quiver with anger. Was he saying that I was going to do to my children what he did to us? Was he saying that I was going to fail Yah like he did? The hell with that. Nah, it's not. I promised Stormy that I was going to be the man she needed me to be. Not like you, I told him. I'm not going to fail my wife and my children. And guess what? I ain't going to fail Yah either. Not like you, Pop. Not like you. He nodded his head once. There ain't nothing in the world that will make me happier than seeing you be a better man than me. I nodded. First, let's get one thing understood right now. I can give a damn about your happiness. I'm doing this for my wife's happiness, for the happiness of our future children. I'm doing this because Yah chose me, and unlike you, I don't want to let him down. So, where do we begin? He got up and went to his bookshelf, where he took down a blue book. He tossed it to me before he took his chair. The scriptures, the book read. I opened it. The Bible. He had tossed me the Bible. What is this? I asked. Training. Tonight, you begin your spiritual training. Crack open that book. Begin at Genesis 1, verse 1. Tomorrow, we start bright and early at the Lion's Den. There, you will begin your physical training. After I left talking with my father, I went upstairs and I made love to my wife again. And as she slept for the second time that night, I reached over and picked up the scriptures. I turned to the first page and I began to read. I don't know what time it was when I finally nodded off. but it seemed I had just closed my eyes when somebody was rudely shaking me awake. I felt my wife's warm body still in my arms, so I ignored whoever that was and drew her closer. Instantly, she curled up to me. Yeah, that's what's up. I drifted back to sleep, but somebody punched me hard in my arm. Get up, Playboy. Pop, what you want, man? I cracked open my eye to look at him. Come on, son. It's training day. Ah. Would it be wrong to physically throw my father out of this room? Probably. You said you was going to be a better man than me, remember? His voice grated badly on my nerves. I opened my mouth to tell him to go to hell, but right then I felt those little fingers gently rubbing through my beard. Oh, yeah. You damn right I'm going to be a better man than him. All right, Pop. Can you give me a minute? I'll meet you downstairs in a few, okay? You got it. He walked out and shut the door behind me. I can do this. But first, I moved on top of my wife's soft body, burying my nose in her neck. She always smelled so good. I kissed her. Her taste having the same effect on me that heroin must have had on a heroin addict. Slowly and thoroughly, I made love to her, my father forgotten. I needed her more than she would ever know. Go back to sleep, I told her sometime later. I'll be back before you have your second cup of coffee. I kissed those soft lips and then I hopped in the shower. When I got out, I felt like I could tackle the world. I hadn't trained with lions since I was a kid, but I have trained every day of my life since then, so how hard could it be? 2 hours later, I was regretting those words. I was pretty sure that Lion was not human, and neither was his son. Let me tell you how I found that out. My pops and I made it to the gym sometime after 4. Yep, you got it, 4 in the morning. I just knew nobody was going to be up at that time. I was wrong. Lion was in the ring when we got there, and so was little Daweed. It looked like they were finishing up some kind of meditative stretching routine. Hey, Junior, Lion called out when he saw me. Daweed hopped over the ropes and ran to me. I picked him up, tossing him in the air. I had only known this kid for a short time, but he had already worked his way into my heart. And so had his 2 little sisters. Misfits, those 2. But I'm getting away from the story. Man, I'm so glad to see you. You don't know how proud I am of you. You stepped up to this calling. That take a big man, Lion said, pulling me into one of those hugs that reminded me just how strong this dude was. My ribs and my bones protested loudly. Yeah, I had a talk with my pop last night, and he brought a very convincing argument to the court. Lion chuckled. And what was that? He asked my dad. I told him if he left, he would end up just like me. He held up his arms. I looked at Lion. And you know we can't have that, I told him. Lion looked between us. I don't know, Junior. Your dad has made some mistakes, true. We all have. But it ain't another man I would rather go into battle with. Well, that's 'cause you ain't never went into battle with me. Yeah, I know I said that kind of cocky. But hey, I've earned a right to say it that way. I have pushed my body to the limit every time I worked out. And the end results is the fine specimen I know my girl been telling y'all all about. My father and Lion erupted in laughter. What's funny, I asked. Junior, I can see you obviously work out. But look, you ain't nowhere near ready to go into battle with me, Lion said. Come on, Lion. I know you got this image to uphold, the great and mighty Lion. And I know your crew tight too. We all heard the stories. But you sleep on your boy hair. You sleep on my skills. Lion and my pop looked at each other again before they burst out laughing again. Okay, Junior. Okay, Junior. I tell you what. Let's make a little wager. Instantly, I shook my head. No, player, I ain't trying to fight you. This dude was crazy if he thought that. Junior, fight me? Please. Not me, Junior. Dawid. I looked down at the little fella that had not left my side since I walked in. He looked up at me like a younger brother would. With admiration and wonder. This Dawid? I asked, pointing down at the little fella. That Dawid, Lion said. What is he, 8? Dawid nodded his head. I'll be 9 in 3 months. He smiled up at me. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe if it wasn't so early in the morning, I would have seen this trap coming. But it was early. I wasn't thinking clearly. Does he have that extra strength like his pop? I asked. That's a fair question. My dad and Lion chuckled. As far as we know, he got regular 8-year-old strength. And you want me to do what exactly? Fight him? No, son. I want you to just lay hands on him. You know what? Just lay one hand on him. Just grab a hold of him with one hand. What? This dude was crazy. I kept telling him about my skills. If you can grab him with one hand, I will relent. Tell you right. Your skills is worthy to walk amongst us. But if you can't lay a hand on him, you shut up and submit to this training. I don't want to hear no crying, no complaining. Oh, and I know you are newlywed and your wife is very, very pretty. But I'm gonna need you to lay off the I started shaking my head instantly. He didn't even have to finish that sentence. It wasn't no way. He might as well have asked me to stop breathing. I could do that more easily than stop making love to my wife. Don't shake your head at me, Junior. I need you to be set apart during this time. You can't lay with your wife, man. Lion. Look, Lion. It's an honor to be training with you, okay? I know your waiting list is like a mile long. But bruh, I cannot. Man, don't even ask me. Bruh, I can't do it. Then lay hands on Dawid. You lay hands on him. Hey, your skills are superior. You won't need to abstain. You don't lay hands on him. You submit to my rules. He smiled real big at me. Like I said, if it wasn't so early in the morning, I would have seen this coming. I exhaled. I looked at my father. He wore a smirk on his face, you know, the kind that said he knew something I didn't. I looked down at little Dawid. He wore a goofy, childlike smile. You see, if I had thought for 1 minute that this would be any kind of threat to me, to prevent me from tasting my wife, from laying with my wife, I would have never said the words that came out of my mouth next. So, you want me to just lay a hand on him? I asked Lion. One hand, my brother. I shrugged. Bring it on. My father clapped his hand together and hopped over the ropes. Lion also stepped to the other side of the ropes. I turned to face little Dawid, and y'all, that goofy grin was gone. A young warrior stared back at me. I began to get a bad feeling about this, but I was in it now, so I might as well win it. I walked towards him just to see what he had. He stood there and watched. I smiled at Lion as I reached out my hand to grab his shoulder. But before I could, that little dude went back on his right hand and took my legs out from underneath me. I frowned up at the ceiling. Clearly, I had been duped. This kid had mad skills. I jumped up from the mat. My own smile was gone. This was a serious matter. I had too much riding on this. I crouched down and I dove at him. He went back into a backward flip, sending his foot to connect with my chin. Damn it! Okay. It was on now. This little boy obviously was some kind of super kid, like his daddy. I aggressively went after this kid for the next 15 minutes. I mean, aggressively. And all I gained for my trouble was some lumps and bruises, including a kick to the jaw that I know was going to leave a bruise. Plus, my pride was a little ripped in shreds, because for the life of me, I could not lay hands on this kid. It was like trying to grab a hold of a soft stick of butter.